Hi guys, I'm Aussie and welcome to episode 28 of our Hearts of Midlothian challenge, and today it's the summer transfer special. You can see we haven't gone ahead from the end of season awards, and we just basically will work our way through the summer transfer window. We'll see who we get in Europe. I'm not quite sure if when this will end, whether it ends at the start of the Scottish Premier League season or whether we will have a Europa League tie before that. But let's have a look and see how we did this past season. Now, we have it here for most appearances. Obviously, you can see there, Thomas Glover was right up there, Mitchell as well, Uche, Smith, Herring, De Jong, all these are all the ever-presents. We know these guys, who they are, Coping, Morrison, McDonald, and all the way down. Now, where I always think we want to try and look is at the bottom here and see who we weren't using. Now, Kevin Silver's just a backup goalkeeper, so that's fine. Hartford, Gregor, McGill are youngsters. Connor Smith is a youngster. Hamilton is a youngster. Now, he's wanted here. The problem with Hamilton is that he wants to be a centre-back. He doesn't really have the jumping reach, so I'm not convinced that he is a centre-back in there, but he's not really a right-back either. So he might be one, if we can get a good transfer fee, we look to sell. These other guys here, I'm not really looking to sell them, to be honest. We want to try and keep them where we can. We can see here now, Igetson he's wanted by a lot of clubs. He didn't really ever impress me this year. His match rating doesn't look too bad. His average match rating at 6.95, and that's because when we played him in the Betfred Cup, he played well against sort of lower league oppositions. But otherwise, he didn't really impress me, so he could be one we look to move on. Matt Riley, we know, is going back. I don't think we'll get him back again because we do have a couple of youngsters coming through that he will just get in the way of. If we look at goals, we know Uche led the way, and if it wasn't for Uche, we'd be in slightly some trouble here, I think. Middleton was good. We want to keep him, but Rangers don't want to loan him back. We'll keep trying and see if we can, but I don't think that's going to happen. Brophy he got 3 hat-tricks and 10 goals all year. So yeah, he's a little bit hit and miss. Morrison's been fine. Levitt, we know, is coming back next year. De Jong got a couple. McDonald, Irving, Dario Zanata. Now he's someone we need to replace Middleton on the left. I don't know if Zanata's the man, to be honest. We might see. That's the position we need to work on, because the other option we have right now in the squad is Sean Clare. He's right-footed, which isn't ideal. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one works out. We can see there the goals. If we look at assists, Dimitri Mitchell led the way. Now, he could potentially play higher up the field as a left winger, which is something we could look at, though I do like him as a fullback, and as I said, he is joining us on a full-term basis. Middleton was second, Smith as well. We do get a lot of assists from our fullbacks. Uche chipping in with 5 assists, along with Levitt, Harry Cochrane, McDonald. You can see the rest down there. And the average ratings, it was Garuccio that actually had the highest average rating where he played. Not as many games, though, but he did okay. I'm yet to see how this work permit thing's going to play out once Brexit actually happens in the game, which should happen through the summer, whether we can still actually use him or if he's not going to have a work permit. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that. We can see Middleton was there. He played more games and he got the Golden Anchor for best average rating of the season. Uche just below him. Considine played well when he did play against Zanata, Cadinho, Mitchell, Smith, and we can see all the others down there. A lot of players 7 or above. I thought Coping averaging 7 as he is 17, 18-year-old playing his first year, 18-year-old playing his first year in the senior team. I thought he did quite well for us as well. No one really did that badly. Innes Cameron was perhaps a disappointment, but it's his first year with the club. We'll give him a little bit of leeway there. So that's the squad as it was. Where do we want to look to upgrade? If I look at the squad here, I'm thinking potentially a goalkeeper. We're always looking for a better goalkeeper, aren't we? These are the 2 guys we have right now. If Glover gets we get an offer for him, we might look to sell, though he is coming along quite nicely. The one position I'm wondering at right back, I don't know if Godinho is ideally what we want as a first choice, so he is decent, and Cameron Smith. Michael Smith is decent enough, but he's 31 now, he's aging, and I don't know how much longer we're going to get out of him. But of course, we don't know how far we're going to go in Europe, so we don't know whether we need to be strengthening for a European campaign or not. Otherwise, I just generally think it's just looking to strengthen, keep the players we want to keep. Uche's not currently wanted by anybody, so that's huge. He's sort of mission A is keep Uche at the club, I think. But that's where we're at. We will have a look here at the reserves. Is there anybody here that we do always have some youngsters coming through? Harry Stone is a decent goalkeeper. We might look to call up into the senior team, especially if we do sell one of our first choice guys up there right now. Burns is a good option at left back that's coming through as well. You can see we had a couple of youngsters out on loan as well. The main ones here, Whiten, who is decent, and Ewan Henderson, who is also decent. If we drop into the under 18s, again, we have a good left-back option in McIntosh coming through, as well as Mark Kane, who could play on the right. We would need to maybe train him to get a little bit further forward. There's a couple of decent guys in here as well, a couple of midfield options there as well. So we'll be back when there's something to report. I'm thinking there'll be the commercial summary very soon. And hopefully 1 or 2 signings as well. Alright, the commercial summary is in, and let's have a look at how we've done. Now, sponsorship actually was dropped down like £500,000. That's a lot to lose. I wonder why that went down so much. Anyway, hopefully that'll come back up again. We lost corporate hospitality as well. Match day income went down. Now, I'm assuming that's probably because of the Scottish Cup. It's not down that much, and we didn't... Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's perhaps why that has gone down. Broadcast revenues again went down. Competition prize money went up though. That's obviously finishing higher up in the league would have helped that. And the player shirt sales, we sold 431,000 worth of shirts. About 10% of those were foreign. 6,660 shirts in total. Uche, unsurprisingly, number 1. De Jong, Middleton, Cochrane, and Herring. Obviously, the Middleton fans will be disappointed because he will be leaving. We've got our new scouting budget. There it is there. We're going to have to drop down our packages, though, because I kind of put that up based on the... what's his name? Suter, on the Suter money, which obviously we don't have coming in right now. So we'll wait and see exactly what happens with that. We do have our budgets in for the new season. You can see our finances there. We've got $3 million to spend on transfers. We have about an extra £18,000 a week that we can spend on wages. So we do have some room there to get some new people in. A part of me is tempted to put some of that budget into scouting just to try and find the next young player. The problem, as I said when it sort of came out, was the Brexit rules with the minimum wage, the £8,000 minimum wage over 23, and I think it was $3,000 minimum wage under 23. I think it was something like that anyway, give or take a year or two. So that kind of puts a spanner in the works of the planning to scout side young players at on low wages, because we can't really get away with the low wages. So time will tell what happens on that one. But that's the commercial summary. As you can see, not quite as good as we were last year, to be honest, in terms of our income, but we've hit a new high point in terms of of finances, so that's good. This time last year we were sitting at about $3.5 million, so we've gone up an extra 2. What is that? 2.2 million in the bank. So we're looking okay. It's almost time to start. The contracts are about to expire. We're out to the 24th of May. You can see I've just been doing a clear out of our backroom staff, getting rid of the guys that we can improve on, looking to get new people in. So that'll all take place in the next few days here. Just the transfers, contracts will expire, and then we can really start and dig our teeth into some transfers. So the Premiership season has rounded up. I thought I'd sort of run you through what's happened here, but look at this. Uche, the Scottish Premiership, Player of the Year. 26 goals in 32 games. Was that ever really in doubt? He was also the Football Writers Player of the Year, I'm assuming that is. So he's won that as well, ahead of 2 Glasgow players. He also was the top goal scorer. That's unsurprisingly. Look at that. He had 10 goals over the second and third in that. Middleton was the best Rookie of the Year. What a debut season that was for him. I really hope we can get him back, but I've had another go, and Rangers, they want to keep him, which is fair enough from their point of view, I guess. He was also the Writers' Young Player of the Year. The goal of the season in the Premier League, it was a Scott Brown goal. It wasn't one against us, surprisingly enough. Harry Cochrane's goal, that was the goal of the season. Now, I haven't seen the latest voting on our goal of the season, but go back to the end of last episode, and you can vote on your favourite goal of last season. But Harry Cochrane got second overall in that. There we go, the Team of the Year. So our goalkeeper was the Scottish Goalkeeper of the Year. Surprises me a little bit. It's a bit Celtic-centric, isn't it? We've got Uche up front as well. But there we go. Anything else here? European Championship squads. I'm assuming we don't have anybody in those. We have one. Oh, it's Michael Smith, of course. He got called in for that one. So there we go. That's all the news on that front. Now, the Scottish Cup did end up being won by Aberdeen. They retained the Scottish Cup, so good for them. Really, I mean, I know anyone, as long as the Celtic club doesn't, as long as the Glasgow club doesn't win it, I think that's good for Scottish football. So well done to Aberdeen. So there we go. And in terms of the Scottish League, it was Ayr got relegated. Partick Thistle got promoted, and they get promoted along with, who was the other team that came up? I didn't actually check that out. There we go. It was drum roll please, Dundee United. So we haven't had Dundee United yet, have we? So Dundee United and Partick Thistle will be joining us in the Scottish Premiership next season. We have a new face at the club. It is David Turnbull. We signed him from Motherwell, relegated Motherwell. The fee initially is $350,000. Now it does go up considerably from that with add-ons. We'll get to that in just a second. But before we sort of look at the negative side of it, let's just enjoy what is a wonderful, wonderful new player for us. Deep-lying, advanced playmaker. We can play pretty much anywhere in midfield. The only weakness in his game, honestly, is just his pace. He's not the most mobile of players. Pace, agility, acceleration is all quite low. But he's a passer of the football, and in that, he's a passing of 16, vision of 16, off the ball's good, flair is good, first touch technique, everything's good. He's a penalty taker as well. I think this guy will be really, really good for us. He's not too bad in a tackle. His work rate's not too bad either. So I think he'll be a really, really good addition for us. I kind of looking at him and thinking this could be the end of De Jong. 20 years old, of course, as well, and just over $1,000 a week. That's less money. Greg Halford, if you remember, we had him in the reserves last year. He retired. He's just retired, so we've basically broken even on wages with him leaving the club. And I think, let me know what you think in the comments. Tries to kill a ball often. I think he's exactly what we're looking for in that deep-lying playmaker role. You know, take some of the work off of Cochrane, off of Hickey, off of Dominguez. I think if we look at those three and David Turnbull, I think we've done really, really well there. Now, if we look at how the fee is broken down, is there a way for me to show you that? Unfortunately, here it doesn't really give me it because it was something that we had to wait till transfer deadline day. Basically, it's there's got to be a way to show you this transfer status. Anyway, it's basically, so it's 350 up front. It's 250 grand. It can go up to 1.1 million. It's 250 grand for 50 appearances, 250 grand for 50 goals, and 250 grand if we win the Scottish Premier League or Premiership. Sorry. So it could potentially be quite high, but even if it does go all the way to 1.1 million, I think that's fine. I think he's worth that. He's already almost worth that as it is. So yeah, I think that's all good. Did we have a release fee for him? No, we didn't. So everything there looks good. Now, in terms of contracts, a few renewals to update you on. McDonald has signed a contract extension, so that's good. He's around for the foreseeable future. If I can go into here so we can have a look. Anthony McDonald, this guy here, you'll remember him. So he's here for the foreseeable future. Both our goalkeepers as well. Tom Glover, we've signed him to an extension, a small raise for him. I figured if he's Scottish Goalkeeper of the Year, maybe that's as good as we can go. Plus he's Australian, which helps, doesn't it? So that's good. And then the other one that has signed an extension here is our backup goalkeeper, Ted Smith. That way, if they're both potentially 4-star goalkeepers, so that way if Glover leaves, we have somebody that's ready to step in. He's only on 750 grand a week, happy to be back up. So I think that's pretty much as good as we can go on that front. Haven't had any bids come in for any of our players as of yet, though there's been talk of Derby coming in for Herring. To be honest, he's 27. If we get a bit of cash for him, we could maybe get a younger guy in that's on a little bit less money, that arguably just, or if not a little bit better. Or we could go big. There's a couple of defenders I've been looking at that want high wages right now that are coming off contracts. So hopefully once contracts expire in England in the next month or so here, we'll be able to pick up a few freebies. But that's it. Our first signing done of the year. Hopefully there'll be more to come. Okay, we have our second signing of the summer to announce, and this time it's Kilmarnock's Greg Taylor, 300,000, potentially rising to 600,000. Same deal, after 50 league appearances and after winning the Premiership, we would owe them some extra money. But this guy is the new backup / full-time left back if we need to play Mitchell further up the field. And this guy is an absolute steal. What a player he is as a left back. It does mean the end for Garuscio. We're looking to sell him on. Got a couple of bids come in for him, but I think this guy's really, really good. Just solid, physically, mentally, and technically. A very, very good left back. He can pass as well. I don't think we can have any complaints to say. We signed him from Kilmarnock. That's where he came through. He's been a regular for them pretty much since he entered the club. So again, 300,000. It's not sort of bank breaking money. Just 1.8 grand a week, which again I think is fine. Yeah, I think he's a really, really good player for us. He'll be a good signing for us. Now, of course, we need to get rid of De Jong, I thought. So, we have made some movement on that front. Here it is here. 400,000 potentially rising to 624. Oh, this should be 500,000 when you take into account the installments. Potentially rising to 625,000, sorry. His contract is up at the end of this year. He's 31 years old. I don't know that we could get too much more for him. I know it says he's valued at more than that, but I think that's roughly what we would get for him, given it's the last year of his contract. So if he does leave, sad, but I think his time has come. Hamilton, we've accepted a bid for him, 25 grand plus 50% of the next of any sell-on clause. As I said earlier on, he's not quite a centre back. He's not really a right back either. He's a good, solid defender. I like my defenders to be strong in the air, and he's not strong enough for me. So I think he's a good player, but not quite what we're looking for. There have been bids for Garuscio. We've had the main one here is St Mirren's. It'd be 100 grand. We would pay a little bit of his wages, but nothing really. The Kilmarnock bid, I was trying to get what he was worth, 120 grand, but they kind of just pulled out of that altogether. So he could be off to St Mirren, Garuscio. The other bid we've had come in is for Gustavo Igzitsen from Rangers. Now, this guy, this is the fee. So 350 up front, some extra money for wages and international appearances, 50% of his sell-on clause. Now, the reason I'm willing to do this for what is a relatively low price, although it's more than what he's valued at, is that he is supposed to be a good player. He's quick, he's good dribbling. He doesn't really fit into the way we play. He never really, as I said earlier, never really did anything for us. It was the Betfred Cup where he played well, and that got his match rating up. But otherwise, he was quite poor for us every other way that he played. So I think we get a decent fee for him, a good sell-on. Because I think he can develop into a really good player. I just don't think it's going to be with us because I don't think he's going to play enough. So I'm hoping he'll go to Rangers, move on for big money, and then that we'll get sort of what we were hoping to get from him sort of through Rangers, I guess. But that's it for now. That's what we have going. Just kind of waiting for July 1st when the English contracts and the rest of football's contracts expire, and then we can move on from there. On the staff front, we do have a new assistant manager. McPhee really just wanted too much money, so we've gone for Scott Robinson as our new assistant. He's a decent enough coach, but it's the mental side of things, looking at the man management, the motivating, determination's good. He can work with youngsters. I wish his level of discipline was a little bit higher, ideally, but we don't need him to coach. We have coaches to coach. It's this that I'm looking for, and I think that he'll do quite well on that front. I hope so anyway, because he's here for 2 years, but we've got him on less money than what McPhee was going to be on. So there we go. On the coaching front, I've really, really gone strong on coaching. We've got a really good second goalkeeping coach in, which will hopefully help our goalkeepers develop. We've got a really, really good fitness coach in. I actually signed this guy on my Everton safe. He's a really, really good fitness coach. So hopefully that'll help there as well. And ideally, I'd like to get one more coach in to help with the coaching. Obviously, if we go to training and look at our assignments here, I want to get a possession guy, ideally. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Everything else is not too bad, but yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes on that front. I don't want to bug the board too much for coaches because I think there's other things we can use, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, second signing is Greg Taylor. Hopefully there'll be more to come still. Hey Uche. Hey mate, it's Aussie Villain. How you doing, mate? All right? Good to hear. Now listen, just wondering, have you had any calls by, I don't know, say an agent or a coach of another club, managers? No? Oh, it's good, mate. Yeah, no, I just like to check up on my players through the summer. What's that? Oh, you lost your phone? Oh, mate, that's horrible. I'm really, really sorry to hear that. Look, I tell you what, don't replace it. When you get back for pre-season, we'll see if we can get you something through the club, and you never know. You never know, it just might show up. So here we are, June 16th, and it is Europa League draw time. Now the best first play? I'm not quite sure what this means. We've been seeded in the draw. We'll play against one of 33 teams. Let's have a quick look at... Now, I think there's a first and a second round draw here. Can we see who we can get here? Let's scroll down. I don't really understand how these seedings work, if I'm honest. It's to do, being the second place Scottish team in the league will get seeded in a certain point, but I don't understand why it's not just like an opened. So we're Group 1 unseeded teams, Group 2 unseeded teams. I don't understand how this is going to work. To be honest, I'm not going to sit here and we'll just do a full draw and see what we get. Otherwise, it's going to take forever. Who do we get? We have. It's an Estonian team, Levadia Tallinn. Excellent looking squad. Don't really know what to expect from them, but that's who we have. Now, there is going to be a second round draw. I think there is going to be a second round draw. So when does that start? July 9th. So we have a little bit of time before that. Now we'll have a look at the second round draw. And again, we're not going to sit here and watch it all come out. We'll just go for the full team draw. And we have second time of asking... We have somebody beatable, please. We have either, I tell you what, a Maltese team or a Astana. So you'd imagine it would be Astana from Kazakhstan. We have some players here. I mean, we'll worry about them more when we get to it. But someone's leaving there. There's no names I recognize. I tell you what, though. That is two relatively beatable teams, I would say. Now, how much money do we get for this? It's a big thing, isn't it? First round, we will get, so 190, almost 200 grand. We were the best placed teams, right? 250, I don't know who we got here, second round. So we should get about $500,000 for this. And I tell you what, we've got to be a chance of going beyond that, I would think. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I think those draws look very, very doable for us. Very, very doable. All right, we have a double departure to announce. Egerton has gone to Glasgow Rangers, 350 going up. I was going to say it was going up to 500, so $500,000. And again, we had that 50% sell-on clause. So should he come off, which, I mean, he should. As I said, I just don't think he was going to work for us. I'm sure he'll come back and haunt us, but we'll get 50% of any sell-on fee. And then De Jong has left. It hasn't officially gone through yet. I'm not sure when it's officially going through, July 1st. But $500,000 for him, potentially going up to $625,000. As I said, with the addition of Turnbull, Turnbull's a better player. We just didn't need him anymore. So we'll get those wages off the book. $500,000 in the bank. Happy days. So there we go. 2 outs, 2 departures. One of long to sort of a player that we missed in De Jong, and the other one. Do we call him a flop? That's probably harsh. So, welcome to our new data analysis facilities. The board approved us to upgrade. Cost us £24,000, and I was told this is the best that our budget could afford. Now, I don't want to say it's state of the art, but I think you'll agree it's not far off. Alright, it is now July 1st and things have happened. Now, Dimitri Mitchell has officially joined us on a permanent deal. $3.5 grand a week. He's valued at 4.4. Of course, we signed him on that free transfer when his contract expired at Manchester United. Been a really, really good player for us, and I don't think anybody, let me know if you disagree with that, but I think it's one of our better signings. And De Jong has now officially left the club, £500,000, as I said. I think it's a decent enough deal for us. Get those, he got a nice wage raise out of that move too, so I think it works for everybody in the end there. So yeah, we'll just kind of see what we can do by way of free transfers now. If we have a quick, I don't want this to go on for too long, if you have a quick glance at our shortlist, see who is available on a free transfer that is willing to join us. You can see we have a few different options here, so we'll have a look through those and see if there's anybody. The one thing we do have in our advantage, we only have one player on loan. So what I don't want to do is sign players that are going to hamper the development of our youngsters coming through. What I might look to do, I mean, as you guys know, you can do some serious damage in the loan market. So now that all the loans are finished for the last season, we'll have a look at that as well and see what we can do. But I'll be back hopefully soon with some new signings that just to really put a bit of a cherry on top of our Heart of Midlothian cake. Alright, we are on the eve of our first Europa League game, which means this episode has to come to an end because next episode we'll do home and away versus Tavernen and whatever that Estonian team was. So, it was still a long way to go in the transfer window. It's still almost 2 months, to be honest. So it's, as I said, short and sweet, really, for a transfer special. So I apologise for that. I didn't realise the Europa League would start so soon. But the outs, we got Gustavo Egerton out to Rangers, 350,000, rising to 500,000. We'll don't forget that 50% sell-on fee. So if he does become a success and move on for big money, we will get half of that. Chris Hamilton joins St. Johnson, 25,000. I think we have a 50% sell-on fee for this guy as well. He's a good player. As I said at the time when I sold him, just doesn't quite have the jumping reach or the strength that I like in a centre-back. So he's just not one for me. But I think he will be a good player, and obviously we'll have that 50% sell-on. And then De Jong, 500,000, potentially rising to 625,000. With the addition of Turnbull, we didn't need him anymore, so we got him out the door with wages. His contract's up at the end of this year in any case. So there we go. We've got 875,000 and that's going to rise to 975,000 in about a few weeks' time. I'll show you why in just a second. But the ins so far, and I think we've done really well. David Turnbull has joined, 350,000, potentially rising to 1.1 million. with appearances, goals, and winning of trophies. But I think he's a really, really good player, and I still think we've got him at a snip, even if it does end up being 1.1 million. Greg Taylor from Kilmarnock, 300,000 rising to 600,000. Again, that's, I think, if we win the Scottish League and if he plays 50 games for us, he's a really, really good player. And again, I think we've got him in an absolute snip. And Dimitri Mitchell joined on a permanent deal for us. Excellent stuff to have him in. We spent 650,000, so we've made a profit of about 300,000 in the transfer market. Obviously, as I said, still things to do, but that we can be very proud of. Now, a couple of things I'm hoping to get across the line. One that is across the line. Garuccio has left us. He's going to be joining Melbourne Victory for £100,000. That's done. Just got to wait for the, I'm assuming, the A-League window to open. In about 2 weeks' time, 21st of July. So 100 grand coming in for him. Now, what I did want to do is, I think we need one more right-back option coming in, because we don't really have any youngsters coming through the system that can play right-back. So we've done a deal here, potentially, for Jordi Asu-Tutu. I love the name. He is, I'll just go off this so I don't end up walking away from it. He is currently on a free transfer. I believe he was released by Arsenal, 21 years old. You can see there. I think he will be quite good, and thinking long term, he and Godinho can sort of battle it out for the right back slot, because Michael Smith is getting on. Yeah, he was from Arsenal. Because he's 31, he'll be 32 this year, slowing down a little bit. This guy's pacey, he can get forward, decent all round. So I think that's ideally we'll get this guy across the line, and then those two, as I said, him and Godinho can battle it out for the right back slot. Now let's go and have a look at the finances to see how we've done here. You can see we still have some money in the bank, which is good. If we look at wages, we're continuing to drop the wages down, which is good. If this is that probably where we roughly ended up at 48 grand a week, and we're down to 45. So yeah, lowering the wage bill where we can. That way we have the money that, in the bank, whether it be just literally in the bank, or sort of money that we can spend on wages if we need to, because some of our young players are going to want big money sooner or later. So I just want to make sure we have the ability to keep them when we want to. So let's have a look. As I said, still a long way to go in the transfer window, but what we have so far. Now, Uche obviously is going to lead the line for us where possible. We don't want him there. My concern is that are we a little bit of a one-trick pony? We got a lot of goals from Uche last year. Middleton has left. We couldn't get him back. So we just got to hope that other people here will chip in and will replace, not rely too heavily on Uche, but replace Middleton as well. So Brophy will be sort of one of the big options up there, as will Innes Cameron. Hopefully he'll continue to develop for us. Ewan Henderson is an option, but not particularly good one. Craig Whiten, I think, will be sort of the fourth choice striker for this year. On the left side of midfield, Sean Clare is an option, but he's not going to be a first choice option just yet. Zanata is again an option, but not first choice, I don't quite think. Ewan Henderson, this is the guy that's done quite well in the friendlies leading into the Europa League, so we'll give him, I think, he gets sort of first whack at this. Again, high potential, and we need to give our high potential players games to make sure they reach that potential. Dylan Levitt, who of course is back on loan, and Brophy can play out there as well. On the right, Sean Clare, again, he can play out there. I'm not convinced this is where we'll see him, but he's a good option sort of anywhere behind the main man. I think it's going to be the two from last year, Callum Morrison, who I'd like to see develop a little bit more, to be honest, and Anthony McDonald. That'll be the two, I think, that sort of play on the right side, but I'm not saying I'm not going to loan in a right-sided winger. Mainly because I'm just not convinced Morrison is going to quite develop. He hasn't really moved his attributes, and he's been playing it quite a bit, and he's 21 now as well. So yeah, that's one place there could be movement. The number 10 role in behind the striker, we have good depth here. I'm really happy. We have Levitt, we have Sean Clare, and we have our youngster that's rising through the ranks really, really quickly, Lewis Hartford, who looks a really, really good player. We also have Turnbull, who can play up here at a stretch, and also McGill and a couple of others that can. Now, deeper in midfield, the more sort of attacking player we want to look to get forward. David Turnbull will be one option there, as will Andy Irving. Obviously, with no De Jong, Irving was sort of the other main guy that played there last year. Levitt can play back here, but will probably play further forward. Connor Smith, we can't forget Connor Smith. He's only 18, and he's not quite... He was almost he's this good when he was 16. He's almost like he peaked really, really soon. But I do want to keep giving him some game time and try and push him on a little bit. And obviously McGill as well can play in there. The more sort of deeper defensive lying player, we have Harry Cochrane, Herring that can play there, but will more likely be at centre back. Hickey, who is a good option, as is Dominguez as well, rapidly developing Inaki Dominguez. He could be a real star for us this season. Now, if we go back further, it's left back. It's Greg Taylor who will share this role with Dimitri Mitchell. Now, Dimitri Mitchell can also play further up, and that's something that we will look to do on occasion. And we have Constantine, who's a stretch at left back up, but we have some youngsters in this youth squads who will step in there ahead of him. Central defence, Herring will be one of the first choice guys. Coping as well, he was really, really good for us last year. Michael Smith can step into centre back if needed, though predominantly we'll look to use him on the right side. Constantine, as I said, is a good option. Fitzgerald is one of our youngsters that we've called up from the, I think he was in the under 18th or the reserves. I can't remember now where he was. But anyway, we've called him in, as with Josh Grigor, who, again, he needs to be playing this guy. We might even look to send him out on loan. And Proctor as well, who is one of our youngsters, very, very highly rated potentially. Right back, as I said, it's Smith right now, along with Godinho, and hopefully we'll get somebody else in to so we can kind of phase Smith out, get a youngster in that we can use this season to kind of bed in, because I think his Smith's contract up the end of this year. He's at the end of this year, so I don't think we'll be renewing him. But I'm happy to lose him on a free because I think we do need him for this year. And the goalkeepers, Denny Glover will be the first choice to start the season. You can see he does have an Australian cap now as well, so good for him. Teddy Smith, he will be back up, along with Harry Stone, one of our youngsters that's been sort of developing slowly. We sent him out on loan for a year. It didn't really help too much. So we'll put him in the first team squad. Hopefully some mentoring and that he will kick on a little bit. So guys, that is it. That is our team as of July 9th. As I said, still about a month and a half to go for that to change. Let me know where you think we need to strengthen us. Apart from right back, and I think maybe the right side in general, we could do with maybe a loanee or two. But as I said, we've only have the one loanee right now. There's still, is it 3 or 4? I think it's a total of 5. I think there's 4 more loanees we can get in, so we have plenty of room to wiggle on that front. But that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow for the Europa League. Until then, Open Aussie Villain. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in Europe. Take care.